And how it works is on the rounds, tumble dryer went off. Hi folks, and welcome to another episode of the VidFile, where the little mini spin-off from FilmFile. FilmFile, the podcast by film geeks for film geeks. As always, I'm Andy, and here I'm here not to rant today. I'm here to spread some joy. Now, I've spoken as some of my neat things in the past of my love for tabletop gaming and variety of board games and card games, which have caught my attention. So I thought I'd bring something today to have a look at some of the filmic related ones, because we're all film fans. That's why you listen to the podcast. That's why you're watching this. So maybe there's some tabletop games that might catch your eye, give you some entertainment. We're in lockdown still, it's easing up slightly, but maybe you can get your family in your house around a table, play a little game, or have something to order now, get in, and once we return back to normal, get all your friends round and have a good laugh. So let's just talk through. Obviously, there's all the classic games that everyone knows, Cluedo, Monopoly, etc., etc. And there's various film-themed versions of those games. If that's your bag, go and get them. But generally, you find that it's just a basic game with a few different models, occasionally one or two extra rules in to mix it up a bit, but that's about it. However, there's a bulk of games which are inspired and draw from the films which they're named after and they got the license for. And one which is really starting to do the rounds at the moment, and you might have even seen the adverts for this yourself pop up online, is the Jaws board game. Now, this board game I've not picked up yet, but I have dabbled with it thanks to a virtual tabletop system on the PC, which is worth checking out. Virtual tabletop, loads of games to play. But with Jaws, one person is the shark. One person is terrorising Amity Island and has mysterious secret actions that the other players don't know, while they go round and try and eat as many people as they can and cause as much decimation as they can. Whilst that's happening, the other three players have to try to work together as a team to place markers, to find out where the shark is lurking, to protect the beaches, and to build up the resources necessary for the second stage of the game, which moves it out to sea with them hunting down the shark to take it out. It's one of those games that has elements of cooperation because three players are working together whilst another player is working against them, and offers so much variety in gameplay style of playing. And if you're a fan of Jaws, let's be honest, who doesn't want to go and get out to sea and realise they're going to need a bigger boat? It's available pretty much anywhere that sells games, and also one of the adverts that I've seen today shows that the John Lewis group has now stocked it in. So get down to your local John Lewis once the shops start to reopen again and get this game bought. It looks like a treat and it plays beautifully. There's also board games based on The Thing, the John Carpenter film, but also the book that inspired that film and also the previous adaptation called Who Goes There. Now, all of these work on the same kind of basis where you're all a group trying to survive in an Antarctic base station, but one of you is infected and is actually working against the other players. And over the course of the game, other players will get infected depending on their actions. So if they bed down for the night in the same room as someone who's infected, guess what? They're going to get infected. And whilst that's going on, all the characters are trying to find a way out of the base, repair the helicopter so you can get to safety. But even the Thing itself, in Who Goes There in particular, I've not played the Thing Infection at Outpost 31 yet, but in Who Goes There, the Thing itself wants to get off the base because it can't spread its population around the world if it can't get off Antarctic. So it wants to remain hidden, it wants the helicopters to get fixed, and then it wants to fly off to safety, at which point everyone goes, yay, we've escaped, and the Thing goes, ha, no you didn't, and wins the game. It's a game where everyone is suspicious about everyone, and if anyone works out who the Thing is at any point in the game, it flips the way that player works from that point onwards. However, there may already be other people infected who still haven't been worked out. Great games, guaranteed to cause fights around the table. Everyone will hate the person who betrays you. But isn't that what gaming's all about? Fans of Disney, there's a game called Villainous, which takes all the classic Disney villains, gives them nice little crafted model pieces, gives them all objectives to work on to become the most villainous of villains. I've not played this, but my usual gaming group, one of them picked this up. They have played it, and it went down quite well. I've got my eye on picking this up and adding to my collection once I've got a bit more readies. But Villainous, if you're a fan of Disney, apparently, well worth checking out. You've also got the Legendary card games. Legendary card games, everything that you need is in the box, and it's a deck building game where over the course of the game you take more cards to add into your deck and you play against the game. Now there's variations of this based on the Marvel Universe, etc., DC, etc. But there's also ones based on Alien, Predator, and even Big Trouble in Little China. And the game mechanics seem quite complicated when you start reading them, but are actually quite quick to pick up and offer so much tension in the gameplay, because there's always a time limit factor in the games. When you're playing something like Alien, and bit by bit you're getting decimated because the time's against you and you've not got the resources that you need in order to defeat the alien menaces that keep popping up. It really lends well to the tension building of those kind of films. So that's the Legendary card games. Once you've played one Legendary game, you can pretty much play any of them because the rule sets are pretty much the same, just with little tweaks based on the characters. And like I've picked up all the Marvel ones. I've got all the Marvel Legendary sets, and as a big Marvel comic books fan, marvelous. It even introduces on one of the later settings a campaign mode where one player is the mastermind working against the other players. So check out Legendary games. Now, the game that I've definitely come here to tell you about today, and this is one that I've mentioned on the show, is a game called Blockbuster. And it comes in a video case, similar to what you used to get from good old Blockbuster. And inside, you get a game board that looks like a VHS, folds out to be a car park, where in the middle of the parking lot, you put your Blockbuster sign. Now, this game works on a team-based one, so you need at least 4 people. Ideally, the bigger the group, the better. And how it works is that on the starting rounds, one person from each team is the one who's going to be in charge of that round. And they do a head-to-head based on a category, such as movies beginning with W. And that card gets drawn, and the 2 people going head-to-head take turns to shout out Waterworld. And then the timer starts ticking down 15 seconds. The other person has to reply with something, Wild Wild West, and press the timer and reset it. And it goes backwards and forwards until one person can't answer within the 15 seconds. Sounds easy, but once you're under pressure, you'll be surprised that no matter how big your brain knowledge is about films, you will easily run out of ideas. Whoever wins then gets the pick of 6 cards to try to describe to the other players. And they are looking like these, and each of these has a movie on, and each of them is a category: family, sci-fi, etc., etc., etc. There's 8 categories, and the idea is your team needs to get at least 1 card from each category. You describe 3 of the cards, so you pick 3 of them, you get the choice of them, and you pass 3 over to the other player to describe to their one, and then you have 30 seconds on the timer to describe one of them by 1 word, one of them with a quote, and one of them by miming, by a bit of charades. See how well you do. 30 seconds on the clock to do all 3 of them. Pretty tricky. Any that you don't get, stay on the board, don't get revealed, and the other team has a chance to try to steal them if they can complete their ones first. Great game. We've played this multiple times. It goes down well with all my film-loving friends and my non-film-loving friends. Because the handy thing about this is you might have someone on your team who knows a lot about films, but you're relying on the other people knowing as much as you in order to get your clever little line from the film that you think is so smart and everyone should know, and no one gets it. Great games. There's also, for those people who like music, a music version of it called Rolling Stone. Plays exactly the same. Another great party game. And there's also, if you go shopping around, you can find things like FilmFile card game, which is a card game that has about 5 or 6 different ways of playing in the rules inside it. And you can also mix and match. All the cards are actual stars. So you can play it like a 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of thing. You have a hand of 5 cards. You have to try to link one person to another, and then someone else has a turn until someone can't go. However you want to play it. The ideas for how to play it are in the box. It's quite a cheap game to pick up. If you're a fan of films, sit with your film buddies, play some CineFiles. So I hope you found some of this board games stuff interesting today, and it's not, and I'll forgive please forgive this pun well in advance, bored you too much. There's loads of other games out there. Just go searching online for a film name that you like and board game and see if there's something there either on Kickstarter or via one of the retailers such as Amazon. There's a game called Back to the Future, which works on a timeline structure that you all have objectives to change the timeline to certain ways, and you're working against each other to fulfill your objectives. So much variety out there. Board games are not just Cluedo, Monopoly and backgammon. Board games have progressed so much over the years. Give something a shot. Pick up a game or find a local gaming group and tag along. You never know. You might just find something to keep you going in these dark times.